Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll.
Senators Aguilar, Baumgardner, Cook, Quorum, Court, Crowder, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Garcia, Gardner, Guzman, Hill, Holbert, John, Jones, Kagan, Kafalis, Kerr, Lambert, Lombard, Marble, Martinez Humanic, Merrifield, Moreno, Neville, Priola, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Tate, Todd, Williams, Zinzinger. Mr. President.
Here. Morning roll calls, 35 present, 0 absent, 0 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Finberg, please come and lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the reading of the journal of Thursday, March 16th be dispensed with, and that it be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Committee reports.
Everyone's here. March 16, 2017, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 192 be amended as follows. As so amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with a favorable recommendation. March 16, 2017, Committee on Finance. After consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 185 be postponed indefinitely. March 16, 2017, Committee on Transportation. After consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 213 be amended as follows. As so amended, be referred to Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 231, 232, 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, 243, 244, 245, 246, 247, 248, 249, 250, 251, and 252. Senate Joint Resolution 19 and 20, correctly engrossed. Senate Joint Resolution 18, correctly re-engrossed. Senate Bill 181, 182, and 191, correctly revised. House Bill 1059 and 1147, correctly enrolled. Senate Bill 33.
Message from the House.
The House has postponed indefinitely Senate Bill 55, 120, 158. The bills are returned herewith.
Colleagues, Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions.
The motion before the body is to proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we will proceed out of order for resolutions. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 17-17.
To the resolution, Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also move Amendment L001 to the resolution.
We need to have Mr. Carpenter read the title first. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 17.
Senate Joint Resolution 17 by Senators Holbert and Smallwood and Representatives Neville and Ransom concerning the designation of a portion of the United States Interstate Highway 25 as the Trooper Donahue and Trooper Jursevics Move Over Safety Awareness Corridor.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move L001.
Sorry, Mr. Majority Leader, I am out of sorts. We need to have Mr. Carpenter read that. And
Amendment L001.
Mr. Majority Leader,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move L001.
to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. In drafting, we came to learn late that we had missed an I in the word, in the name Jamie. Ask for an I vote. Mr. President, the resolution also adds the name of Trooper Jursevics' mother, Jolene Torres.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L001? Motion before the body is the adoption of Amendment L001. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Amendment L001 is adopted. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request that the resolution be read at length.
Mr. Carpenter.
Senate Joint Resolution 17 by Senators Holbert and Smallwood and Representatives Neville and Ransom concerning the designation of a portion of United States Interstate Highway 25 as the Trooper Donahue and Trooper Jursevics Move Over Safety Awareness Corridor. Whereas on November 15, 2015, Colorado State Trooper Jamie Jursevics was hit and killed by a drunk driver while outside her vehicle investigating a roadside accident on Interstate 25 near Castle Rock, Colorado at mile marker 176.25. And whereas on November 25, 2016, also while investigating a roadside accident on Interstate 25 near Castle Rock, Colorado, State Trooper Cody Donahue was hit and killed at mile marker 179.25 by a tractor trailer when the driver drifted over the fog line. And whereas Trooper Jursevics and Trooper Donahue were struck by drivers who did not move over to the far lane when approaching clearly marked police vehicles on the side of the road. And whereas it is state law that drivers must yield the right-of-way, move over at least one lane when possible, and slow to a reasonably safe speed when approaching emergency, towing carrier, or maintenance vehicles on the side of the road. And whereas driver precautions such as these are essential to keeping roadside workers, emergency responders, and accident victims safe, and heeding these laws prevents needless deaths on our state's roadsides. And whereas Colorado's population is expected to increase to nearly 7 million in the next 15 years, and much of this growth will occur in the Interstate 25 and Interstate 70 corridors. And whereas traffic and congestion have already significantly increased in these corridors and will continue to increase in the future. And whereas it is imperative that resources be dedicated to educating drivers about the laws of the road in such increasingly crowded and potentially dangerous conditions. And whereas it is appropriate to honor and recognize those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty in a manner that also serves as a reminder to drivers that safe and lawful driving saves lives. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the 71st General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that the portion of the United States Interstate Highway 25 from mile marker 176.25 to mile marker 179.25 be designated as the Trooper Donahue and Trooper Jursevics Move Over Safety Awareness Corridor. That the Colorado Department of Transportation may accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations for the purposes of initial placement of signs to mark the designated portion of United States Interstate Highway 25 as the Trooper Donahue and Trooper Jursevics Move Over Safety Awareness Corridor. And that the Colorado Department of Transportation may explore a cooperative agreement with the Board of County Commissioners for Douglas County for the maintenance of the signage for the Trooper Donahue and Trooper Jursevics Move Over Safety Awareness Corridor. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to Trooper Donahue's wife, Velma Donahue, sister, Aaron Donahue Paintner, brother, Coulter Donahue, mother, Susan Calk, father, Jim Donahue, and friend, Jeff Gowan. Trooper Jursevics' husband, Ditsy's DJ Jursevics, and mother, Jolene Torres. Governor John Hickenlooper, the Board of County Commissioners for Douglas County, Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Transportation, Shaylin Bott, Chief of the Colorado State Patrol, Colonel Scott G. Hernandez, the Association of Colorado State Patrol Professionals, and the Colorado State Patrol Family Foundation.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, please be seated. I'm honored to be here this morning with my colleague from Douglas County. Our community experienced two tragic deaths that were unavoidable. 110 or excuse me, 1 year and 10 days. 1 year and 10 days and 3 miles apart. Troopers Donahue and Jursevics were killed by motorists who did not move over. We have law in the books today that says when you see an emergency vehicle on a roadside that we slow down and, if possible, move over. You have a wristband in a special green color. The prior ones were blue, but you have a wristband here. Move over for Cody. Move over for Jamie as well. Move over for our state troopers, our county sheriffs and their deputies, our municipal police, snowplow drivers, tow truck drivers, and the men and women who build and maintain our roads. Slow down and move over. Because 2 drivers didn't do that, a mom and a dad, a brother, a sister, a daughter and a son, didn't come home. This resolution provides us the opportunity to create a safety awareness zone in that 3-mile stretch of I-25. In its current congested form, or hopefully its future widened and more fluid form, Colorado Department of Transportation has already begun work to put signs there not only as memorials to the 2 troopers, but fill the space in between to help educate drivers as to why we have to move over, why we should. And I thank CDOT for putting that message on the electronic signs. Hopefully you've already seen that. There's one down on Spear Boulevard that I see almost every morning that says, move over. It's the law. Would a few seconds have mattered to either driver? And I understand one had been drinking. The other was a semi-truck, delivery truck driver. And while the 2 troopers were out there on the roadway protecting us, the people, doing their jobs, they were hit and killed needlessly. So we have this joint resolution, and I ask for your support here this morning, but we will also see a bill that's been introduced, Senate Bill 229, and I'll be asking you to consider strengthening the penalties, because I'm told that that driver who killed Cody might face probation, and I think that's wrong. It's an honor to be here with the families. We'll introduce them and some of the troopers who are here in a moment. But at this time, Mr. President, I would stand aside and let my colleague from Douglas County have a few words.
Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you, colleagues, friends, guests. I stand before you today in support of this joint resolution honoring Colorado State Troopers Cody Donahue and Jamie Jursevics. Trooper Donahue is from my hometown of Parker, Colorado. Majority Leader's hometown as well. The tragic events of November 15th, 2015, November 25th, 2016 is what in today's terms we refer to as a tipping point. That unexplainable point in time or an incident that becomes so significant that it causes a larger, incredibly important, and unstoppable change. Before that date, a motorist moving over for emergency vehicles was a law that for decades was far too often simply ignored here in Colorado. I drive tens of thousands of miles a year. Nobody ever moved over. If they did, you wonder what in the world they were doing. Why is somebody moving over into my lane? That's my opinion. Even after the dozens of similar incidents over the past several years, it seemed like so many motorists just didn't move over. But if you drive in the Denver metro area today, you have to be aware of the changes that are going on. You would be blind not to notice the signs and to actually see behavior changing on our roads today. And colleagues, that is to me the definition of a tipping point. And although it's tragic, it's important what happened. You have to be aware that these plans are focusing now on Colorado's move over law, and I am so proud of law enforcement agencies across the state for stepping up education and enforcement around this critical safety issue. And this most recent project is appropriately named after Trooper Donahue, probably Trooper Jursevics as well. So I read a quote from Colonel Scott Hernandez, who heads up our Colorado State Patrol, saying that, "I can tell you without a doubt, Trooper Donahue saved lives." And for me, that says a lot. And I wholeheartedly agree. Anyone who is stopped on the side of the road is safer today because of these tragic incidents, whether they are law enforcement, an ambulance crew, firefighters, tow truck drivers, or unfortunate motorists like me who've been pulled over with my flashers on to change a tire and nobody moves over. You should have seen me on the side of the interstate in Missouri, nearly getting killed changing a tire on my trailer. Troopers Donahue's and Jursevics saved and will be saving lives. So now to be clear, be crystal clear, I've never had an opportunity to meet either Trooper Donahue nor Jursevics before their passing, but I love lots of people who I've never met. And whether your heroes are George Washington or Dr. King or Ronald Reagan or St. Teresa of Calcutta, I think if you have heroes, you know what I mean by that. You don't have to have met people to have loved them. Troopers Donahue and Jursevics are my heroes. I think their spouses, their kids, their parents, fellow troopers, and all those who did know them for giving us them to love. Parker, Colorado thanks you. Douglas County thanks you. State of Colorado thanks you. So God bless your families, your friends, and know that we're always going to remember these troopers. So thank you. Mr. President, I would request a roll call vote and that the chimes ring out for Troopers Donahue and Jursevics.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 17? Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is with great sorrow and deep sympathy that I stand here today in honor and tribute to two very courageous troopers who died in the line of duty. To the family, I must say to you, I am so very sorry for your loss. It takes a very special person to wear a uniform. And it takes a very special person to love the person that wears that uniform. Because when you see your loved one leave the house, you never know what kind of danger they may encounter. And I can't imagine what it's like wondering if that loved one is going to make it home safely. I'm so very proud to have this green van move over for Cody. We all share the same streets, the same highways. You've seen it. You've seen an emergency vehicle trying to get down the street, and people are so busy getting to their next destination that they fail to move over. And it makes me angry. I've seen law enforcement troopers help and assist those who are dealing with all kinds of traffic situations. And sometimes people not having the courtesy that they need to slow down. I am so very proud to be a member of this chamber and for us to take the time to acknowledge the sacrifice that our law enforcement and our troopers make every day for our safety. So to the family, I understand your grief. We understand your grief. We understand your pain. And we understand your loss. And I know there's no way to fast forward when you're dealing with grief. You just have to take it one day at a time. Please know that we will never forget them. And when I'm traveling down the roads, I will always pull over, and I will make sure that others around me, with any gestures I can make, I will encourage them also to slow down. Thank you.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to pass on our condolences to the family. I read where Officer Donahue ticketed his wife. I do not know that if he fixed that ticket after he ticketed her, but I hope she paid her fine. You know, it's quite a sense of humor these individuals have, but I come across something I got on the internet and I thought would put things into more perspective. This is basically the Donahue family response to the public outpouring of this tragedy. First of all, we want to thank everyone who has sent love and prayers to our family, including our community, the Colorado State Patrol, and our friends and family around the world. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. There are no words to express how great our loss is. Cody was a rock of the family. He was always there to make us smile, lend a hand, give a hug. Our hearts are forever broken. We do want to take this opportunity to ask all who have been touched by this tragedy, please don't drive carelessly. If you see emergency personnel on the side of the road, please slow down and move over. 2 little girls are going to grow up without their daddy, and there's just no good reason. And I thought that somewhat explains what we have to say. You know, there are no good reasons for this tragedy to ever happen. I understand that we have congestion on the roads, but we have lives that have been affected by this. So our hearts go out to you. You know, the Colorado State Patrol is a very unique and very well thought of organization, and they will be forever missed. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 17? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 17. A roll call vote has been requested. We will ring the chimes. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll of the senators.
Senators Aguilar. Aguilar, aye. Baumgardner. Baumgardner, aye. Cook. Cook, aye. Quorum. Quorum, aye. Court. Court, aye. Crowder. Crowder, aye. Donovan. Donovan, aye. Finberg. Finberg, aye. Fields. Fields, aye. Garcia. Garcia, aye. Gardner. Gardner, aye. Guzman. Guzman, aye. Hill. Hill, aye. Holbert. Holbert, aye. John. John, aye. Jones. Jones, aye. Kagan. Kagan, aye. Kafalis. Kafalis, aye. Kerr. Kerr, aye. Lambert. Lambert, aye. Lumberg. Lumberg, aye. Marble. Marble, aye. Martinez Jimenez. Martinez Jimenez, aye. Merrifield. Merrifield, aye. Moreno. Moreno, aye. Neville. Neville, aye. Priola. Priola, aye. Scott. Scott, aye. Smallwood. Smallwood, aye. Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, aye. Tate. Tate, aye. Todd. Todd, aye. Williams. Williams, aye. Zinzinger. Zinzinger, aye. Mr. President.
Aye.
Mr. President, aye.
With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 17 is adopted. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors of Senate Joint Resolution 17.
Without objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 17. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, please be seated. Mr. President, I ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we are blessed, honored this morning to have members of both the Donahue and Jursevics family. Velma Donahue and Aaron Donahue Paintner. Velma is Trooper Donahue's wife. If you would please stand. And Aaron, would you please welcome them? And we also have DJ Jursevic, the husband of Trooper Jursevic. Finally, I'd like to introduce some of the family of State Patrol. If you've been here at the Capitol for a while, you probably met Cody. I don't know that I met Jamie, but we know that we have the Executive Protection Unit here in the Capitol who protects the governor and all the members of the General Assembly. And thank you. Thank you to all of them. But from the State Patrol, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Barry Bratt, Captain Jeff Goodwin, and Captain Darce Well. Thank you all. It's been an honor to carry this resolution, Mr. President, and if we may have a moment, a few minutes to greet our guests, I would be grateful.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess to greet our guests. Senate will come back to order. Majority Leader Holbert. Yeah. Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read all the titles to all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1059 by Representative Thurlow and Senator Tate concerning the schedule of appeal reports by the Department of Public Safety to the General Assembly. House Bill 1147 by Representative Size and Senator Kagan concerning defining the purpose of community corrections programs.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move both of the bills on the third reading of bills, final passage consent calendar, House Bill 1059 and House Bill 1147.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1059 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please add the President. Senator Martinez-Humenick. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1147 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Kafalis, Senator Fields, Senator Merrifield, Senator Crowder, Senator Aguilar, Senator Todd, Minority Leader Guzman, Senator Martinez-Humenick, Senator Moreno, Senator Tate, Senator Kerr, Senator John. Please add the President. Second reading of bills. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we remove, we will remove Senate Bill 193 from the consent calendar and Senate Bill 230 from the consent calendar. General Order second reading of bills consent calendar. 193 and 230 will come off.
By request, those bills are removed from the second reading of bills consent calendar. General Order second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
Motion before the body is to resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Priola will take the chair.
Committee will come to order. Will the clerk please read the titles of all the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar?
Senate Bill 96 by Senator Lambert and Representative Lundin concerning creation of a grant program to support a shared peace officer auxiliary. House Bill 1149 by Representative Exum and Michelson Janae and Senator Gardner concerning special license plates issued to members of the United States military who serve in the United States Army Special Forces.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move both of the bills remaining on the second reading of bills consent calendar, consisting of Senate Bill 96 and the Appropriations Committee report, and House Bill 1149.
Is there any discussion on any of the committee reports? The motion before us, the body, is the adoption of all the reports of all the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reports are adopted. Okay. Any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills on the general order second reading. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill, all the bills on the consent calendar. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
You've heard the motion. Seeing no discussion, the committee will rise and report.
It's an ayes and noes.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Committee will rise and report.
Senate will come back to order. Senator Priola.
Mr. President, the committee has a number of bills under consideration. I'm sorry. The committee has met and discussed a number of bills on the consent calendar. Would the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave reports had under consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof, makes the following recommendations. Number 1, Senate Bill 96 is amended, passed on second read order, engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1149 passed on second reading order, revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Priola.
I move the adoption of the report of the second reading consent calendar.
Motion before the body is the adoption of the report to the committee of the whole. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 96 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1149 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking to the second reading of bills calendar. Thank you, Mr. President.
That'll be 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. Looking to the second reading of bills calendar, I move that we lay over Senate Bill 40 at the sponsor's request to Tuesday, March 21st.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 40 till Tuesday, March 21st. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. The ayes have it, and that will be laid over. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the balance of the second general order second reading of bills calendar lay over until Monday, March 20th.
The motion is to lay over the balance of the second reading of bills calendar till Monday, March 20th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. The ayes have it, and the balance of the calendar will be laid over to March 20. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, please read all the appointments on the consent calendar.
Member of the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority Board of Directors for a term expiring July 1st, 2019, Max Tyler of Lakewood, Colorado, serve as a member representing the public and occasioned by the resignation of Charles Kenneth Knight of Denver, Colorado, appointed member of the Colorado Limited Gaming Control Commission for a term expiring July 1st, 2020, Cynthia D. Mears of Centennial, Colorado, representing registered electors and as a Democrat, reappointed.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move all of the appointments listed on the consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar, consisting of a member of the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority Board of Directors and a member of the Colorado Limited Gaming Control Commission.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the adoption of all the governor's appointments listed on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the appointments? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the appointments are confirmed. The following persons are appointed to the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority Board of Directors. Max Tyler of Lakewood, Colorado. Oh, now you're listening. Also, as a member of the Colorado Limited Gaming Control Commission, Cynthia D. Maris of Centennial, Colorado. Let's do that first. Committee reports.
March 16, 2017, Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy. After consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Joint Resolution 13 be amended as follows. As so amended, be referred to the Senate for final action. March 16, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Air Quality Control Commission for terms expiring January 31st, 2020. Peter Butler of Durango, Colorado, serve as person with appropriate technical and scientific experience, reappointed. Charles George Grove of Craig, Colorado, serve as person with appropriate industrial experience, reappointed. And Anthony Gerber of Denver, Colorado, to serve as person with appropriate scientific experience, reappointed. March 16, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration had hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Air Quality Control Commission for terms expiring January 31st, 2019, William R. Tour of Boulder, Colorado, serve as a representative with technical and private sector experience, reappointed. Jana Beth Milford of Boulder, Colorado, serve as a representative with legal and scientific experience, reappointed. March 16, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration had hearing on the following appointments, recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Colorado Commission on the Aging for a term expiring July 1st, 2020, Connie Mae Ring of Springfield, Colorado, to serve as an unaffiliated from the 4th Congressional District appointed. March 16, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration had hearing on the following appointments, recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Colorado Commission on the Aging for terms expiring July 1st, 2020, Julie Horner Mowry of Denver, Colorado, to serve as an unaffiliated from the 1st Congressional District appointed. Ruth Elaine Long of Fort Collins, Colorado, to serve as Democrat from the 2nd Congressional District reappointed. Deborah K. Bailey of Grand Junction, Colorado, to serve as a representative for the 3rd Congressional District reappointed. Marvin Joseph Urban of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as Democrat from the 5th Congressional District reappointed. March 16, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration had hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Medical Service Board for terms expiring July 1st, 2020, Donna Mary Roberts of Laird, Colorado, to serve as resident of the 4th Congressional District, a Democrat with knowledge of medical assistance programs reappointed. Christy Strong Blakely of Littleton, Colorado, to serve as resident of the 6th Congressional District, Republican, and as a family member person with a disability reappointed. And L. Charlotte Charlie Lipolis of Evergreen, Colorado, to serve as resident of the 2nd Congressional District and unaffiliated with experience in caring for medically underserved children appointed.
Message from the Governor.
March 16, 2017, Colorado Senate, 71st General Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and will file with the Secretary of State the following acts. Senate Bill 34, concerning extension of the period following the declaration by the Governor of a disaster emergency in a county within which the Board of County Commissioners of the county may transfer county general fund money to the County Road and Bridge Fund for the purpose of disaster response and recovery. Approved March 16, 2017 at 2:43 p.m. Senate Bill 56, concerning the schedule of appeal reports by the Department of Public Health and Environment to the General Assembly, approved March 16, 2017 at 2:45 p.m. Senate Bill 50, concerning the consolidation of grant programs relating to forest management, approved March 16, 2017 at 2:47 p.m. Senate Bill 90, concerning how to measure the level of Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol in industrial hemp, approved March 16, 2017 at 2:56 p.m. Senate Bill 26, concerning requirements governing implementation of the state engineer's function in connection therewith, restructuring a fee that the state engineer may charge for retaining certain types of water infrastructure, repealing certain requirements, and updating language in the statute regarding the division of water resources, approved March 16, 2017 at 3:31 p.m. Senate Bill 30, concerning the exemption from the schedules of controlled substances, anabolic steroids that is administered through the injection into non-human species, approved March 16, 2017 at 3:31 p.m. Senate Bill 127, concerning expansion of the exemption from the requirements that apply to the mortgage loan originator to include up to 3 loans per year without compensation between family members, approved March 16, 2017 at 3:31 p.m. Sincerely, John W. Hickenlooper, Governor.
Delivered to the Governor.
To the Governor for signature on Thursday, March 16, 2017 at 4:48 p.m. Senate Bill 77, 109, 196, and 197.
Colleagues, will you help join me in welcoming to our chambers the Honorable Senator Lou Entz. Announcements. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to make an announcement that the JBC and the CDC will be having a meeting Monday at some undetermined time at this point. That way, at least there will be a space reserved on the calendar at some point. We don't know exactly the time right now.
Senator Lambert first.
Thank you. I guess the JBC will be having the same meeting at the same undetermined time, but we thought it was going to be at 8 o'clock. So having some sort of meeting on Monday. Also, I'd like to announce that the quarterly economic forecast, listen up, please. The quarterly economic forecast, which we base all the budget decisions on, is going to be held in room 271 upon adjournment of the House, because we're getting out first, but we got to wait for those guys too. So it'll be over 271 as soon as they're out. Thank you.
Senator Kafalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I just wanted to let you know that on Monday, March 20th, we'll have our second meeting of the Bipartisan Colorado Children's Caucus. About a week ago, we all should have gotten an email invitation. There will be flyers on people's desks on Monday morning, but that will be from starting at 12 noon to about 1:30 in Senate Committee Room 354, the Colorado Children's Caucus. Thank you.
Senator Todd?
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. Happy Friday. Wanted to just remind you that a couple of weeks ago, Senator Newell was on the floor, and she was talking about the film that she and Senator Lundberg have worked together on. The last bill is Senator's Story. It will be premiering on March 18th, tomorrow at 12:15, and then again at 2 o'clock at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton. So again, we all got this flyer, and this is just serving as a reminder. It is very, very well done. We're looking seriously at putting a trailer or a part of that as on Colorado Channel Authority Board, and making this so that people know and understand some of the processes that go into serving as the senator. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and it is March Madness. I would be derelict if I didn't mention that there are some very important games going on, and Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Any further announcements? Colleagues, just briefly before the majority leader, let's talk about fines. Senator Tate for the phone ringing during the morning prayer. How about $5 per ring? No. Senator Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just have an updated schedule announcement. The meeting between CDC and the Joint Budget Committee is tentatively on for upon adjournment on Monday. Upon adjournment. Thank you.
And as far as other fines, Senator Kagan, we have not forgotten about you. We are still working on the calculator, figuring out the final number on that fine. Senator Baumgartner, did you have the slide rules? We got NASA computers working on your fine right now. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things. The upon adjournment thing, the House wants to do it upon adjournment. We laid all of our second reading over, so our adjournment might be noon or 1 o'clock. Theirs might be at 9:30, so I'm not sure that's going to work. But anyway, that being said, on your desk you saw a flyer that says, "Share a soul for a soul." And I think what this is a couple of years ago, I gave a homeless man my shoes, and they made a really big deal out of it, and I caught a bunch of grief for it. And but they're doing a shoe drive now for the homeless, and I believe we're going to be setting up a collection box. If you have slightly used shoes or new shoes or whatever you would like to donate to these people that are less fortunate than we are, would appreciate it. There are details to follow. It says that we'll begin collecting your donations March 20th through the 24th. So between now and then, if you have something you'd like to donate, that would be great. Thank you.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we did lay over the second reading calendar. I understand from JBC that they'll be asking to get off the floor early most days next week. I don't know exactly when we're going to have a marathon second reading session. I hope not to bring us back in the evening. But as you plan out second reading, if you can think in concise ways and brevity, that would be awesome. We'll see. But next week we have to keep that second reading calendar, and then third reading calendar moving as we approach budget week will be the following week. But with respect to the three awesome senators who serve on Joint Budget Committee, let's be thoughtful of allowing them to get off the floor next week as they need to and go over and work their magic. We will read some bills over. We have some House bills coming over. We'll read some bills over later today. You do not need to be here. Mr. President, I move the Senate stand in recess until noon today.
Motion before the body is to stand in recess until noon today. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will stand in recess until noon today.